Okay, so real quickly before we actually get going on the tutorial, what you really quickly need to do is download some things, and I'd also like to give you just some generic information. Woohoo! Okay, so what is this tutorial for? Obviously, custom weapons. It works guaranteed in 1.18.2 and should also work in future versions, should also work in past versions to some degree. There are limitations. If you want to do it before 1.16, then Warp Fungus on a Stick doesn't exist, so you need to use a character on a stick instead, but it all should still just work out. The things you need to download is the program's Blockbench, which is used for 3D modeling in this tutorial, and Visual Studio Code, which is used for programming in this tutorial. You need to download both of them. They're important. If you already have them, all good. Then you also can go in the description and download the starting point. Highly recommend that. And if you really want, then for my code, so not my resource pack. For the resource pack, you just get the starting point. However, I will include the finished product for my actual abilities and stuff, so you can take a look at it in a bit more detail, and just kind of look through and try to understand it all in a, on your own as well, because that's kind of how you learn coding and stuff. So that's how I do it. So then also, if something doesn't work, you can go in the description and join my Discord server, and just go to the asking for help channel and just ask for help. Really simple. You can ask for help. I don't mind to spend my time helping you. I can't be around to help people 24/7 because I do have a sleep schedule, but I try to help as much as I can. But yeah, with that all said and done, hope you learned something and enjoyed the tutorial. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In today's video, well, I'm gonna be doing a tutorial. Been a while, but yeah, I've worked up the courage to actually do a tutorial again. So, today's tutorial, it's gonna be a really good one, quite cool. What I'm gonna be teaching you is how to make a custom sword. So at the end of this, you should have a really cool custom sword. However, while having a custom sword, that's awesome, right? Custom sword. Well, first of all, it's also quite similar, or at least the process to making it is quite similar to the process for the hats tutorial that I did a while ago. And, well, at least some of you have already figured out how to make custom swords through that. And so, kind of, feels pointless, because at least some people already know how to do it through my other video. And, well, I don't really like modeling that much. Modeling is fun. Absolutely, don't get me wrong. Modeling is fun. I'm just a coder, not an artist, so, that's not my kind of thing. So, in order to bridge the gap and make me slightly more excited to make this video, what you also learn is how to make said sword slightly more cool. Like, for example, shoot fire or something, I don't know. Just something that happens whenever you right-click it, right? Right-click ability action thingy, yes. Or left-click, I don't know. I'll probably teach you both ways and do some cool stuff. Okay. Before we get started, if you don't know the basics of Datapacks, I advise you to watch my Datapack basics video. Honestly, you need to understand how the files work and how they work together, and I am not gonna explain that in this video. I made a different video for that for this very reason, so I don't have to do it here. I'm so smart. Okay, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. Oh my god, this description is gonna be full again. Ha! Fun. Okay, and yeah. Other than that, you also, once you've watched that video, you need to get started with a starting point. So you need to have both a resource pack and a data pack. Both of the starting points for those can be found in the description down below, and that'll be all good. Just download them and put them in the right folders also. If I'm awake, I generally try to help. So, with that all said and done, all that's left to do is, if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like. If you want to see more videos like it, don't forget to press the subscribe button and leave a comment saying that you are asking for help, because I don't mention that you should do that in the Discord. Like, mention it. Why are people still leaving comments? I can't be on YouTube all the time, but I can be on Discord because I'm unhealthy. Anyhow, yes, this was supposed to be a section about that you should like the video. And what says liking? What is a better way of convincing people to press the like button, to also, in the same section, insult the people who are watching the video? Honestly, it's a foolproof method. I strongly recommend if you make videos, just insult a viewer. It's so smart and it absolutely works, guaranteed. Anyhow, point being, like the video. Thank you. Okay. And but did you like that? I decided there should be a camera angle there as well. That's one of my angles now. It's cool. Yeah, I got to 5 and then I gave up. I added 5 camera angles, so you can also be over there, blam, and over there, blam, and over there, blam. Yeah, cool, right? Anyhow, with that all said and done, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. Alright, so what am I gonna get started on first? Well, as the cutscene suggested, what we're gonna do first is make the model. As, well, without the model, nothing really looks good, and the chances of someone watching this video and wanting to have a custom sword 3D model without any abilities is slightly more likely than someone wanting to have a carrot on a stick with custom abilities. So, as a conclusion, I'll just first do the modeling, add in the model into the game, and then do all the cool coding to make it come to life, as they say. Okay, so, let's do some modeling, shall we? Alright, so I now have a decent looking sword. I didn't really do anything specific with it. It doesn't really matter how it looks for me, because it's not gonna be used for any like actual data packs. It's just something that looks good and I can use as an example of how to make your own weapons. So, quite simple. I have a sword now. Let's go actually get this in-game, shall we? Alright, so first, before we actually put it in the game, we need to decide what we want to be putting into the game. So, obviously the sword, but what should it replace? Or when I say replace, what item should it use? Because the normal item, we're keeping the normal item. We're not removing anything, right? As Datapacks generally want to keep the vanilla gameplay intact and just add on to it. So, the most obvious option is a sword. Really, you know, kind of obvious, and you probably have been thinking that the whole time because it's a sword. However, while this is good for left-click detection because swords can left-click, right-clicking does absolutely nothing in-game, and as a result, you can't really detect the player right-clicking. So if you just want to have the detection of someone getting hit, and if that have a special ability, then yeah, a sword could work. However, if you also want a right-click ability on top of the left-click ability, then we switch to this. And this is Warp Fungus on the Stick. Now, Warp Fungus on the Stick isn't the only item that can do this. We generally also use Carrot on the Stick. However, carrots on sticks actually lead pigs, just like carrots, so they follow them. And while Warp Fungus on the Stick does the exact same thing with Striders, it's more common to have a pig near you than a Strider, so one generally uses these for right-click detection. However, quick word of warning before I do anything, this is a bug. Basically, whenever you right-click on a Strider with a Warp Fungus on the Stick, you boost, right? And that is detectable. However, there is a bug that makes that always detectable regardless of whether or not you're on a Strider. So right-clicking right now would still up my statistic. And that's what's detected. Technically a bug, but it has existed for a very long time, like with Carrot on the Stick as well. Also a bug, has existed for a while. So they probably won't fix it, but technically it is a bug. But it works in 1.18.2 and it will probably continue to work for at least years. So yeah, anyhow, I'll be showing you how to do... that's not the right... I kind of... Oh, hi there. Okay, there we go. I probably should have a way to lock my... I want to now work more on my camera system, for goodness sake. Anyhow, I'll be doing both of these nice items, and basically just be remodeling them both because they work slightly differently from each other. They are slightly different items, so hence. But yeah, with that all said and done, let's actually go get to remodeling now, shall we? Alright, so here we have the resource pack. I put it in the resource packs folder already. Here I have it zipped again because this is what I'm actually going to be giving you. You won't have that in here. But yeah, what you want to do, right click, open with code. And this is opening it with Visual Studio Code. You need this for this tutorial and basically all my other ones. Make sure you use it. Same with Blockbench before, by the way. So yeah, then this is the resource pack. So you have the Minecraft models items folder, right? And in there you have both of these. If you don't want one of these, then that's fine. You can just delete the one that you don't want and just leave the other one. But yeah, let's really quickly take a look. So let's start with Netherite Sword. So here you see texture. That defines the texture. Really simple, logical, it just defines texture. Just gives a path to where it should use it. Then here you have the parent. So what that says is use this file for all the other things. So what handheld does is actually use another parent, but also has the specific display options for normal sword. So that's what swords use: axes, pickaxes, you get it, all those. Meanwhile, Warp Fungus on the stick is slightly different. So you can see it uses a different texture. Obviously, it's not a netherite sword, and it uses handheld rod, which is basically the same as handheld, but it's actually like flipped to some degree because fishing rods are slightly differently rotated, so they have to be. And then here you have overrides. So overrides is actually what I added to the vanilla model. And what overrides is going to do is whenever you have a specific custom model data, of this or above, it uses this model, which is custom weapon, item, rubber duck. There's no rubber duck yet. There won't be a rubber duck, but you can just change that to be anything else. However, this is right now called custom weapon, right? That's cool and all, but that's not what it's gonna be proper, right? So this is a namespace, and you should change that to your own namespace, because otherwise you might have problems with other people having the exact same names as you. So in here and in the Datapack, we're going to be renaming this to Fire Sword. And then in here, we're also going to be renaming it, because it should still link to the other file. So in both of these, it's now Fire Sword item Rubber Duck. Really cool, but well, we don't want Rubber Duck, right? So I'm going to copy this path, and I'm going to go back to a Blockbench, and I'm going to be exporting and saving it there as Fire Sword. Right, simple. And this should also be saved as over there. Models. This should be saved as a texture in the item folder as Fire Sword. And there we go. Now I'm going to quickly just close that, and you see, it's now got these added. So you can see I've got the texture right there, and I've got the sword right there. However, you can actually also see that this texture is broken. Why? Because while I took the file and put it there, I saved the model before I saved the texture. And that means that while that's all cool, you can see the texture isn't where it was, and I didn't save the model again. So this should be changed to right there. Okay. Now let's save it again. And you can see now this is a proper path that actually works. Alright, so that's all cool and all, but that's not what this is linking to, because this links to Rubber Duck, which doesn't exist. I may or may not have copy-pasted this from Rubber Duck, in case you're wondering why this is Rubber Duck. It was a Rubber Duck. Okay, there we go. So now, with that all done, let's actually go to the game and actually give me my sword. So yeah, let's get started. Oh, for the record, in case you're wondering, this number is a bunch of random numbers. Clearly. Basically what this is for is because everyone is gonna have their own sword, right? But if everyone replaces Sword Fungus on a Stick with the number 1, then no one is able to be using the same datapack at the same time, because they both want to use the same ID. So, for me, I'm gonna say that this is now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 6 digits, obviously. This is gonna be 3, 2, 7, 5, 5, 9. Bam. That's from now on my Fire Sword. And up there as well. Bam. What number you actually pick doesn't matter too much. There's a convention for you have the last 2 digits actually be the ID of your item, and these are the ID of your data pack. And I think another digit in front of it then. But I don't know. Just doing random things works generally, so I just do random things. But yeah, let's actually go into the game, look at my super cool sport thing, and get making on the data pack for this all to be functional. Alright, so I enabled my resource pack, which you should do too. Kind of essential. If you already have enabled it before making your changes, then what you can do is F3 plus T at the same time, and then you should refresh all changes. But yeah, now that I have done that, I still have my normal weapons slash whatever Sword Fungus on a Stick is categorized as tool, I guess. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Now, the reason for that is because these are my normal items that I got out of creative mode. That won't work. That's the whole point of it. Those don't work. I made my custom item. Right, this is custom weapon tutorial, not a 3D modeling tutorial, right? So what you need to do is run the command that is on the screen right now. I'm gonna make myself edit. I'm so smart. And also in the description down below, you'll find the commands. So with that, you get this, which looks significantly more fancy. And I also have another one, which is actually a sword. Yeah. So yeah, that's all that. It all works in game. I have my sword. Now I just really need to make a data pack and make that all work. Once again, starting point for that also in the description. It's not yet because I haven't made it yet, but once this video is uploaded, I'll have a starting point. Don't you worry. Okay, so I have opened the data pack starting point. Find it in the description, like I said. Now we need to make some changes to this. Fun, right? I make a starting point and then save it, and then I immediately have to do some changes, literally in the very next clip. Yeah, that's fun. Okay. So first of all, custom weapon right there. Well, that's not what we named it. We said fire sword, right? So you can name your thingy whatever you want. This is fire sword. Now you'll find absolutely everything is broken if you would care to actually try it out. I'm not. So first of all, we're gonna have to go through every single file. You know, like this links to something. Well, I'm able to open. No, that's right. I just changed the name. So now it's fire sword and fire sword, right? Other than that, right there, custom weapon, and there is absolutely nothing. And then over here, instead of Minecraft tags functions, there's once again some file references. So just change all of that to be your new namespace, and that all works out. Everything links properly, everything's good. So yeah, now we have our absolutely glorious starting point with all of the proper names, with everything just stated for ourselves, and we can go ahead and start actually coding stuff. Alright, so before we actually do something with our custom item, we kind of need to have a custom item. So what I do for this is always I have a give function, which people in my Datapack world have figured out, and like whenever I don't tell people that I added it, people tell other people in the comments that I added this. Basically, what a give function is for is just, hey, I'm going to write down all my custom items, I'm going to put them in there. If you have a lot of them, then you might want a give folder with loads of individual functions inside, but all it's really for is just because, hey, it's annoying to get a custom item, because you need to write down a whole give command, and, well, if you just save it somewhere, it is so much more convenient. And this way, all you need to do is just run the function in-game, and you get all your items. Now, in order to actually get the give command, I'm actually going to be using MC Stacker for that. If it wants to change monitors, there we go. I already know how to do this all out of my head, honestly. It's all very simple. But you people don't, and it's about teaching you all. So MC Stacker is great for starting out. It's absolutely amazing. So you can click right here for give. And here you have a whole bunch of things for target sectors. You can just leave that as what it is. It's just, there are a lot of options, but you just want to give it to the nearest player. And that's really it. Then you have give item. So what item do you want to give? Well, I want to give a warped fungus on a stick, right? So there we go. I have a warped fungus on a stick. Now, in order to get to the point which is in the description, right, I need to give custom model data to this. So I just copy my number right there. And you can see I've got my super simple give command right there. Now I want to add some more things. First of all, I want to add a name. Fire sword. Then I want to say this is not italic, because italic text always looks bad and it looks like you renamed something. And then just giving it some red text. Where's red? Right there. I think that's good. just for the name. But then there are some other things that need doing. First of all, especially if you use a warp fungus on a stick, this item is still a warp fungus on a stick. No matter what it looks like, it's a warp fungus on a stick. So it deals damage like a warp fungus on a stick. So I want to add a modifier. Add attribute modifier. Now you can say, hey, I want to give more health to myself. That's possible, but that's not what a sword does generally. So that's not what I'm going to be doing. So what I want is attack damage of let's say 10, but only when I have it in my main hand. That's my condition. I want to only get the boost if it's in my main hand. If I give them offhand, I don't want to deal an insane amount of damage. And I want to have my attack speed. Where is that? Attack speed. There we go. And that can just be negative. Also, only in my main hand. So, what attack speed is it needs to be slowed down, because a normal focus on stick can be, well, as quick as punching is. And that's not how quick I want my sword to be. If you want 1.8 PvP, you can make that extremely fast and everything is fine. But I'm gonna make it slower than normal. So yeah. Now this is all good, and this should give me a pretty good weapon. But I wanted right-click ability. That was the whole reason why I made this sword fungus on a stick in the first place. So I'm gonna go to custom tags right there. And I'm gonna write down Fire Sword 1. Now you should write down right there, obviously, your weapon, like whatever describes your weapon properly. What some people also do, me included, is if you have a data pack like superheroes, then in there you would put down your fire sword. Just so if someone else makes a fire sword, they would have to make a fire sword within a superhero data pack for that to make sense. And you're less likely to override someone else's fire sword. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'll just say, hey, I have a fire sword, and that's it. So now, over here, you can see this is what it's become. Almost 500 characters long. Adding these attributes really gets quite messy. But if I now minimize that and simply paste this in, remove the slash because this is a function, not me typing it in a chat. Not that there's enough space in a chat for this much text, but hey, then you can see I've got my super cool weapon right here. The attribute modifiers is the only thing I don't really know out of the top of my head. I can do it with the autocomplete of Visual Studio Code though. But yeah, that's it's one of those things that's quite messy when you have this much text. But hey, anyhow, let's go into the game and give myself my actual sword, because my other weapon item that had a model that's really cool, but that doesn't have my fire sword tag, so it's not the actual custom item, and it's still a warp fungus on the stick when it comes to how much damage it deals. So yeah, let's get this brand new item in game. Alright, so first of all, before we do anything else, I made some changes to the data pack. Clearly, I added the give function. So, I need to type reload. And also, if you're wondering why I'm typing a T after I reload, that's actually completely on purpose. That's because, especially with bigger data packs, like for this, I mean, this is a really small data pack. So the loading time is really short. However, if you have a massive data pack with loads of things, then the loading time can get slightly longer. And it's nice to actually know when it's done loading. So if I type /reload and T right after it, you can see that's basically instant, or at least as quickly as I can type a T after typing /reload. But yeah, the moment you see the T appear, you know everything is done reloading, and you can, well, do whatever you want it to do. So then, if I say function, then I have a very long list of functions here. The reason for that is that I have a door, and I have a chalkboard, and I also have a data pack for the zoom, and there's also some other data packs. But you can't see that list, so all you know is that there is Fire Sword, or actually Poison Staff, or whatever cool custom weapon you've thought of. Unless you're not actually following through with this tutorial and just are watching it for fun, in which case, hi, I'm Victory. I want to hang out sometime. This is also my hobby. So yeah, so then you can simply just run the give function, and bam, I've got a custom sword now, and it actually is this fast, which is slower than normal, but not that much slower. So I think I want to tweak how much attack speed it has, but it has its attack damage, it has its custom model, and it has its custom tag, which is going to be tracked. So that's good. So I'm just going to do some tweaking because I want it tweaked, but you know, that's what you can also do. And I'm really just going to do it off camera because it's just going back to MC Stacker and just changing the values and testing it out and changing the values again and just fiddling with it until it actually is perfect for what I want. So yeah, let's really quickly do that. Alright, so I tweaked the values of the sword a tad, and now it has -2 instead of -1. It's still slightly quicker than a normal sword, but I don't really mind. It's not a normal sword, and that's kind of the point. However, you know, while it's cool and all, I mean, I can summon a pig and I can kill the pig really easily. It's still kind of bland, you know. So it still needs to have its right-click ability of fire and stuff, you know. So let's go get to actually coding, well, everything really. Not all at the same time, but let's start on coding it, shall we? Okay, so well, this is my give function I made, and while this is all good and all, this is, you know, my give function. I don't actually want to do anything in here. So first of all, I wanna start doing some things, right? So here I have my update, right? And I want to add some scoreboard objectives to check for some things. Pretty simple. So first of all, I want to say scoreboard objectives add seaweed dot. Also, the seaweed or CW if you're not Dutch, it stands for custom weapon. That's because I added that prefix before I renamed the project, and I should have renamed this as well, but I really can't be bothered to. So this project shall have CW as its prefix, which obviously stands for Command Victory. Actually not for custom weapon. It stands for Command Victory, and you should have renamed this to your own name or the name of your project. But it totally stands for Command Victory. Don't you worry. Okay. So then here I have word fungus on a stick. It's so long that I am just gonna abbreviate it. And this should use used warped fungus on a stick. So this is gonna go up by 1 every time I right click with a warped fungus on a stick. Pretty simple. However, that's not all, because I also wanted to know if you hit someone with said item, right? So damage dealt. What this can be custom damage dealt, right? So what this is gonna do is it's gonna increase by the amount of damage that you dealt. In some units, definitely not half hearts, I know that much. And I'm going to basically check, hey, have I dealt more than some amount of damage? Well, then I must have used the item in my hand. If that item is the correct item, bam! Do your effects. Right, simple. And this it just increments by 1 every time I right click anywhere from the stick, check if it's the right weapon, and then do my bamming. Right, okay. So let's do that now. Let's just start with right click detection because, like you probably got from my explanation, it's the easiest because I don't need to check for any specific value, I just check for 1. So in here I can say, hey, first of all, score player set as 0. So what this does is every single tick, it gets reset to 0. Now the reason for that is because while it's really cool how it works, it doesn't reset on its own, which is really useful, but you know, you need to reset it on your own if you want that. So every single tick, it gets set to 0 for every single player, but before I set it to 0, I want to see if it's equal to 1. Right? That's logical. So execute if score of @s of my reference mistake matches 1 run, and I'm just gonna say hi in the chat. Right? Simple. And now, actually, I mean, I might as well do the other one as well. Damage dealt. That should work similarly. And I'm just going to say 550. Let's just say 50. And just say hi to in chat. Okay. That's really kind of good to test this out in game. Because, well, it might not work. In which case, I want to really quickly change things. And it's important to constantly test and see whether or not it works, so you know where you went wrong, right? So yeah, this should all be good, but let's just really quickly try it out. Alright, so I made some changes. /reload. Yep, okay, all good. Now, whenever I right-click with this, bam, it says hi in the chat. Really cool, all working. Now let's try out murder. Says hi in the chat. Okay, all good, everything works. Now what I would like to see is if I really spam click, let's do that. Yeah, now spam clicking doesn't work. If you want spam clicking to also work, then you can just make that threshold. Oh, sorry. Hi. Hello there. I really should add a feature that can lock my camera in place. That would be really smart. Or that it only changes if I'm shifting. That could also work. Anyhow, I'll do that later. Yeah, so you just change the threshold from the whatever I had. Let me take a quick look. From the 50, just if it's lower, then you need to deal less damage with it. So spam clicking also would work. So yeah, but I now have my checks, as you can see. I have my check. It does a thing. However, if I use this, it also says hi. That's not how it's. This is not a weapon of mass destruction. This is what functions on the stick, and it should stay that way. So I'm gonna have to add a check for this weapon, right? But how do I know what this is? Because all that's different is actually the model. However, what I also added was a tag, or Fire Sword 1, or in your case, whatever you renamed it to. And yes, I'm gonna keep insinuating that you actually renamed it and it's not Fire Sword anymore. Okay. So now all that I need to do is see, hey, what the item that you're holding does it have that tag? And store the tag into a score and then check the score and then I know what item I'm holding and it's wonderful. Okay, let's let's add a check for that really quickly. Alright, because checking your inventory and checking data, that's actually slightly heavier on the game than simply checking a score. Hence, I'm going to be putting it into a score. So for that reason, I don't want to constantly be checking the item that you're holding because I don't need to be. The only times I need to check what item you're holding is, well, when I want to do something with that information. So, whenever you're right-clicking or whenever you are attacking, both of them should do its own thing. But before any of that, which one do I want to do first? Let's say right-clicking is going to be something, right? Well, that's going to have its own subfolder for its own functions. So let's say ability 1, really cool, and that can have a check.mc function, right? Really cool. So what this can do, this is going to be ability 1. Right, it's clicking. So this should have Fire Sword. And you can see right there it already says, hey, ability 1 exists. And then it says, hey, the function check exists. And just like that, it has auto-completed to this. And it now links itself. I love autocomplete. It's really useful when coding, at least. So now what I want to do is store it into a score. However, there is no score yet. So I'm going to go to update, and I'm going to make a new scoreboard objective with 10 values. So values that are temporary. However, it shouldn't increase on its own. It should be a dummy. So just a scoreboard that doesn't ever increase. I'll explain in my tutorial of generics. You can go watch that. Okay, so now check. Well, I want to execute and store the result of my command into a scoreboard, right? And I want to store it into... I could say it S, but that's not necessarily the best option. Let's say it is Fire Sword. I'm doing this because in this datapack I'm only gonna have a Fire Sword and that's it. So the only ID it can have is either 1 or it doesn't exist. So it is either 1 or 0. So either it's true or false. So it makes most sense to just call it is a Fire Sword, right? But you can use the same tag multiple times. You can have one weapon have it be 1, 1 have 2, 1 have 3, 1 have 4, 1 have 5, and just check the same tag over and over again. Just so you don't need to copy 5 different values and just only check 1. Right? So you just copy 1 value and then check that 5 different times. Way better. But for now, let's just do that. Let's say run data get, because I want to get some data. Now, do I want to check a block? No, I want to check an entity. Who? Well, me. And I want to say selected item, because I want to check the item I have in my hand. Main hand, clearly. And, well, it's down there. Well, I want not just check whether or not I have an item. I want to check what item tag it has. So I want to check a tag. Down here you have a lot of tags. Really cool and all. Clearly awesome. I mean, this is everyone's definition of cool, right? Well, and this is all cool and all, but that's... my thing won't be in here, because all of this are the vanilla tags. And while I can check for custom model data, that's not really the way to do it. You generally just check the Fire Sword tag that I added. So I just add that right there, and now this number right there of the temporary scoreboard is going to have this number. Simple. Now what I do need to do is actually see, hey, what is that? So if I say, hey, now execute if, so I want to add a condition, if something, well, if a score, because I just stored it into a score, so if a score of is a Fire Sword of my temporary scores matches 1, so it's equal to 1, then I want to run, well, I could add a say hi command again, but let's just do it slightly fancier and say I want a flame. Oh, right there, 0.3, 0.5, 0.3. So how this command works is you just have particle, then you have the name of the particle, which is flame, so like a torch. Alright. Then you have the relative coordinates, so where relative to the player do I want it positioned. Then I have the spread, so how distant do I want it. Then I have the speed, that can be 0.01 I think. Then I have how many do I want, well I'll say 30, why not. Alright, okay. Let's save that. Now let's go ahead and really quickly just try it out, because it's smart to try things out, especially in a tutorial, because if things don't work, it's kind of important that I can redo the clip and that it then does work. Wow, magic, right? Woohoo! Alright, so I made some changes once again. So let's reload. You can see that time it took slightly longer slightly more changes. Let's go ahead and right click, shall we? Wow! Aha! I'm on fire! You know, that's it. I'm on fire. That's simple, really. Now, well, this is all cool and all. I did also promise a left click ability, which does not just say hi, but really, I kind of just remembered. I do need to check one thing. I can't just breeze past. I need to make sure that this is not a sword of mass destruction anymore, right? That was my promise. Aha! It doesn't work! This works. That doesn't. Could that be a lie? Yes. You'll find out when you do this yourself, and it better not. You better not have messed something up and now just be like, you lied to me. No, it works. Okay, don't mess anything up. Thank you very much. But yeah, this is now my custom sword. However, while that says hi, this also still says hi. Right? So that's because, well, I added a check to right clicking. I didn't do anything for left clicking yet, so that's gonna be done now. Let's do that now. Yes, let's do it. All right, so this is gonna be largely the same actually, because well, I still need to check for the exact same item in the exact same way. It's just I have a different trigger. So what I'm going to do is rename this to ability 2. Of course, if you would want these things to actually do something, you know, if you have something in mind for them to do, it would make a lot more sense to give them proper names. But I don't. This is not a good weapon. It's just going to be a testing thing. And I am only using it for that. Okay. So ability 2. Check, okay. So now this is already done. It's exactly the same as the last one. However, just keeping it the same, well, that doesn't really warrant another clip. So I want to do some things, right? However, if this has 30 different lines of code, well, that's kind of... Admittedly, you're not going to be dealing damage every single tick, but still, it's better to optimize your code a bit. So what this is going to do is if it is a fire sword that I'm holding while dealing damage, I'm going to run another function. Fire sword, ability 2, / activate. Right? Simple. I want to activate its ability. And this I could have also done for ability 1, except if I just want particles, then, I mean, what's the point? You know, if it's one command, it's more efficient to just put it in the same place. However, if I wanted 3 commands, then it would be like that. And now you can tell this is a lot of the exact same check over and over again. Bit redundant. Don't need that. Let's just put it once in here. And here I can add, say, hi, right? And put whatever I want to activate. Now, what I do want is to, once again, have these particles. Because I personally think they look quite cool. However, I want to also do something real, right? You know, it should do something cool. So what I'm thinking is setting the entity you hit on fire. Now, this makes sense as a thing, right? This is probably also what you want, either for giving it a potion effect or something like that, you know? But there's a reason that people generally don't do this, and that's because it's kind of hard to know who hit whom, right? So there's a tag that specifies whether an entity has been hurt, right? So that's the animation, the red animation that actually also blocks the entity from getting hit again until the timer is over. And you can check how far along that is, and if it just starts, well, that just means that you just got hit. However, you don't know who you got hit by. So there are a couple of options to change that. You could give fire aspect on your sword and detect the fire, right? And that's, you can get detect a custom item guaranteed by giving it fire aspect 10. And then simply removing the fire effect from the mob, because you can just remove fire, simple. However, you can't remove it from another player without like a water bucket, like just placing water. But then that would also remove pre-existing fire, and that's also not that neat. So it's kind of non-perfect. What I'm going to be teaching you here is simply saying, hey, I dealt damage to a mob. Let's go ahead and find the closest mob that has been dealt damage to, and activate something as that mob, right? It's not foolproof, but it's pretty good, honestly, in most settings. Because, you know, that's how that works. And especially because it activates, you know, 20 times a second. So if you dealt damage to a mob and there's another mob taking damage, it needs to have taken damage not previously, just the moment you hit that mob, which, you know, possible, kind of unlikely. So, let's really quickly do that, right? So, what I now want is to say, execute as at E, distance equals within, let's say, 6 blocks. That's a decent reach. And let's actually also add a minimum distance of 0.00001, just so you don't trigger this on yourself. I want that to never happen. As myself. Okay. So as every single entity within 6 blocks, I want to run a function again. Why? Because I want to store some data in a temporary score. And this is slightly more efficient. So, what I want to do is check. Alright. Right. Simple. So what you can now do, right, is similar to this check, because I need to check data. Right. But I don't want to check a tag of an item it's holding, I want to check whether or not it's hurt. So, hurt time. Ah. And I can store that into is hurt. Now here, execute if score of is hurt, temp matches, all that's the same. But now what I need to check, and that's kind of the hard part. Because I don't remember exactly what number it gets set to whenever an entity is hit by a weapon. I do remember that bows have a slightly different number. But yeah, I'm just gonna guess that it's 10. And I'm gonna say 10 and up, right? And I'm gonna say high. So if it has 10, like 10 ticks left before it is able to be hurt again, then it's gonna say high. But also if it has longer left. So this should tell me whether or not I have guessed right or guessed wrong, right? Okay, let's go try this out in game now. Alright, so I made some changes / reload, but there we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna spawn my pig, and let's first go ahead and punch it with a netherite sword. Absolutely nothing, all good. Now, the thing that I'm actually wondering about, which is like that. The entity is dead too quickly because it's a pig. Okay. Let's go over here, / summon Iron Golem. And there we go. Punch it. And the Iron Golem says hi. If I have a pig over there, and I hit the Iron Golem says hi. There is a pig over there, by the way. You can't see it. Oh, that bench was never there. Don't think about the bench. That's gone. There we go. Better. Okay. That's slightly better. Don't look at those poppies in your inventory, by the way. Those are also not there. It's all very, totally not true. Okay, so, all in all, it's better now. It works. It's just, the special effect is still slightly, shall we say, lacking. So, right now it just says hi. Let's go ahead and change that to settings on fire at their feet, right? Just some simple arson, you know? Let's go do that. Okay, so just doing this is rather simple. What I want is to fill from the feet to 2 blocks above it. And want to fill that entire area with fire, but only replacing air. So what that means is that if you're standing in tall grass, or grass as it's these days called, the grass won't get destroyed and with fire. Instead, it'll place it on top of the grass. And this is it. That's it. Now, if you want, for instance, poison instead, like that you poison the enemy with your sword, which I can imagine someone might have wanted, then you can simply just effect give as poison, right? So just give a poison effect of some length, of some amplitude, and with or without particles. Just something simple. You can just run any command as that entity. You can even just run kill at S, just remove the entity instantaneously if you haven't dealt enough damage. You can even add some particles as well, which I think I do want to do. Particle blade, just basically the exact same as right there. And like this, I should now set fire and have some fire particles around. And I can have slightly more, I think. Slightly bigger range. Okay. Let's go really quickly try this out after I turn off fire tick. I'm doing that first. I'm so smart. But yeah, let's go try this out and see how much fire I spread into the world. Alright, so with fire tick off, I want to do /reload, of course, and summon another Iron Golem and try this out. And you can tell that there is fire right there. It was just standing in it. Yeah, let me remove that and hit it again. You can tell it's on fire again. Really good. With the fire without breaking my entire world. So yeah, it's obviously a bit annoying to use. Also, stop standing in my plants. I'll kill that thing later. Okay. Yeah, but that all so then this is kind of the finished product. You can obviously fiddle with it for a bit longer, try to get it absolutely perfect. But for me, and for the purposes of this video, I personally think this is quite good and all working quite well. So, I hope you enjoyed. If you liked the video, please leave a like. While this video didn't take as much time to record as I thought it would, you know, I did still spend my entire day just recording this, and that's excluding the editing that I'm gonna have to be doing and other stuff. But yeah, all in all, please like and subscribe and do the other things, comments and stuff, interactivity. Yes. By the way, now this might come as a bit of a random message, but by the way, let me get that out of my hands. Do you like the new roof? I know that, especially in most angles, that one has the biggest angle. Do you like my new roof? I quite like it. You know, it used to be a bit more grayish, like a grayish version of oak, but I think just, you know, because of the new red wood thingy that's in 1.19, you know, the red planks from the swamps. I don't know. I feel like this will look quite nice. And hi, Iron Golem. Nice to see you're around again. You're not taking away from my point at all. Okay, anyhow. That all said and done, I have an Iron Golem to kill. But I'll do that later. And I'll just head off now. Okay. You know, this Iron Golem really just wants me to kill it right now. Anyhow. I'm gonna head off now, and apparently so is this Iron Golem. Okay, anyhow, do you like the new roof? Let me know, and goodbye.